Hi, welcome back to ACL Stands. In this episode we're going to take a look at this PYE SRC9OO2. It's almost like a novelty radio, but it's the fact that it's made by PYE, which is a big company, suggests that this is in fact like just a micro boombox. It has small speakers here, and this is something that you would find in, say, a small boombox or something like that, around about, actually I don't even know if they'd be 4 inches. But yeah, I think they have little piezo speakers for the tweeters. This definitely has to be the contender for the coolest looking micro styled vintage boombox that I've ever seen. Metal grills and the whole silver aesthetic here, just very cool. We've got, these speakers are fixed speakers, so it's all one unit. Looking at the rest of it, got the tuner knob here, function here, nice clicky dials there, radio, tape, FMS, FM, AM. I've got a little tone dial here. Now these feel a little bit heavy, so I'm going to have to be cleaning these out. One touch record, automatic level controls. I think they're plastic. Nice little metal guard here as well, which is cool when they do this sort of stuff. 6.5mm phone jack there. You've got stereo mic, AFC, stereo mode, AC and DC power, so this is selectable by the front panel here, which is something I've never seen before. And you've also got a sleep here. Now I don't have a service manual for this unit. There's not much detail about this unit anywhere on the internet that I could find, so yeah, this is a little bit of a mystery to me. This kind of could be modelled after some other system. It's got a little VU meter up there as well. You also got the stereo light up there. And looking on the side, there's nothing here. Spider webs, nothing on this side. Back here, 9-volt motor in there. And just check the battery compartment. That looks pretty clean. This is a fixed power cord on here, which is kind of, I think, good in one way because you can't really lose the power cord, but bad if I guess if something goes wrong with it, you need to open it up and change it. Yeah, a little bit of rust coming up on the negative springs there. Fine. Also, we're missing an aerial here. Foam didn't survive on that one, so let's get this thing powered up and see what's working. So I've got this thing powered on the AC, and let's have a look here. Let's go to FM, and I need to switch this to AC. So nothing at all on the radio. Not a really good start, unfortunately. Tape here. If we switch over to tape, and yeah, left speaker is working, right speaker is nothing. Okay, so we've got a few problems with this unit, and straight away there's nothing in the right speaker. It's not picking up any of the stations, dirty pots and switches, not a big deal. The tape unit just doesn't work at all, so it's nothing at all. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2 in the battery compartment to open this up, and I think this might open. Okay, so I think let's spin it this way. Okay, push maybe back this way, I think. The one thing I noticed when I was opening this up is the screws were just super tight, so that tells me that at least nobody has been in here. It's one of the Matsushita MMT models, and I think these are very similar to the silver motor that I recently did a motor swap on. It's 20th of September 82, so this gives you an idea of at least what year abouts this unit was produced. So the other thing I've noticed here is this group of just unsightly wires that are just coming off the connectors on the battery compartment. Really don't like that. I'm going to see if I can pull those off and do a little bit better of a job. Ugly, disgusting belt goop. You can see it's all around the tape unit here, but so I've removed all the belt goo from the pulleys. There's still have to take this motor off. I've got a case of the wobbly motor, and I think at this stage I need to get to the front panel because I need to put some circuit cleaner on those controls because they're really gunked up. I need to clean those up, make sure they're 100% clean, see if that fixes the scratching problem. If it doesn't, that means we've got issues somewhere else. I think I'm just going to have to go through and take out all these screws around here, and possibly this might just remove that whole inside section. Might all be one piece. Not too sure, but hopefully that's the case. So there's a look at that front piece there, and it's actually not too bad condition. See if I can get this cassette deck to work, and then I can put all this back together, and then I can figure out what's going on with the tuner section. I'll clean up these keys here, and also I think I'll take this opportunity to have a quick look at those speakers. Just give it a general clean up. So nothing really too scary looking in this unit so far. So starting from the front, I'm just going to work my way back, gradually cleaning it. So the first thing I'm going to do is take off this cassette door gear, which is this one here. I always remove these gears and give them a clean. I use a little bit of denatured alcohol here, just with a little bit of a cotton bud here, and just clean it. And you can open these ones up, and if you have a look inside, so you can see the factory lubrication there that they've used in this particular grease. And you can see it's actually not too bad, but it is starting to bind up a little bit. If you don't address this now, it'll slowly get worse and worse. It's always good to look at those tape doors. It's one of the main servicing things that you'll need to do on these older boom boxes. These are so bind together, I'm going to have to spray at the front here and also at the back behind it. When it comes to fixing the wobbly motors, what I like to do here is just get yourself some M2, M3, M4 washers, because you're always going to need those. So this particular motor has this metal outside shaft here. If you use an M4 washer that fits in there perfectly, then you can fit that into the motor. Tight that motor is on there now, so no movement at all. So I've cleaned the tape and the record heads, also the pinch roller there with some detergent, and all the keys looking in really great condition. Just take a quick look at these speakers here, and I'm just going to run a little bit of frequency through the speakers just to make sure that they are indeed both working. 1000 Hertz running into this speaker here, and we've got frequency running into this other speaker as well. So both speakers are working correctly. So definitely an issue, obviously, either the scratchy pots or something else on the board. The condition of the speaker is okay. It's not great, but doesn't seem to be any holes in it, but fragile. So I think that's definitely something that we'll need to look at changing in the future. So the other thing I mentioned in the beginning of this video was that this was a two-way system. Well, I was actually incorrect, because what that is the microphone. These two little microphones, which I thought were small tweeters, then maybe it would be a good idea to replace these speakers and actually put in maybe a slightly larger speaker, 2.5 watt max on these speakers. I have some small little 3 watt speakers in the 4-inch range. That definitely is a future video. So let's switch over to the tape deck and test this out. Do a quick test of the tape to see if I can calibrate this and see how that motor's running. Okay, so I'm just going to plug this into the phones. I'll get a reading. Let's turn the volume up a little bit. So this motor is indeed running perfectly. So see 3000 Hertz up on the signal counter. That's exactly what it should be running at. So what I'm going to do here for the aerial, I'm going to leave the original aerial piece in there. So 2.5mm Phillips head screw here. And what I'm going to need to do is cut this down. This is actually a bit too long. Generally what I do is usually have M3 washer that just sits in front of it like this, and then that sandwiches in between those two sections here. I'll just lock it in with the screw. So I'm just going to get the Dremel out and cut that excess piece off. Yeah, 2.5 by 6 mil, 6 to 7 mil. You should be good to go for replacement screws for aerials. I'm getting nothing at all on the AM or the FM. A little bit of static just coming through. If we switch over to AM, we actually are getting AM, but you'll notice that it's peaking out on the levels here. Now, that is a little bit of an indication of what's going on here. The fact that I have to press play on the tape to enable the radio is pointing me towards the functions switch, and I'll show you what that switch is. So taking a look underneath this board here, if you have a look here, this large switch here is the function switch. Apply a little bit of electronic cleaning solvent just inside here, because this can actually get pretty gummed up. Now you can see that's definitely made a huge difference. So the stereo light is working up here, mono and stereo. Still peaking out on those level meters. Switch over to the tape, press play, and you can see there's no meter activity at all. Occasionally with these type of switches, they do get a little bit gummed up. Use a little bit of the electronic cleaning solvent, a pair of rails at the bottom. The other thing to look for in these particular switches is that they have, at the top here, you'll notice there's a little plastic runner sits underneath this metal case. That needs to slide along the sides of this metal casing. If you're having an issue with your switches and they're still binding up, there's a good chance that the plastic is sort of rubbing against the metal case. So what you want to do here is just get a little bit of clear silicone. Use this Easy Glide lubricant from Nulon. Get other types, just make sure it's a silicone so that you can use it on plastics, and that should fix the problem. All these switches are pretty nice, and the problem I was having was with this one here, because it just was getting stuck, and it's mainly because they have a long shaft on them. You need to operate it from here. So just a quick test of the switches, and so at this stage we've got FM working, AM's working. There's still a little bit of an issue there with the VU meter, I think, on the tape deck side of things. The other issue that I'm having here is this motor. Originally this works for a little while, and then it would stop. So if I move my finger here, you can see there's actually no movement. It's actually binded up. I tested the actual capstan here, and also tested the other pulley as well, and they both work freely. They have no issues, even when there's a belt on there. I've also looked at the reels as well, seeing if there's any binding going on there, and the issue that I keep coming back to is with this motor. I think what's happening here is this actual unit inside might actually be either binding up on where the shaft is, just making the whole drive of the motor very rough, and it's causing this to sort of lock in place. This is a problem when you go to press play in some circumstances. When this gets to this point here, it won't be able to engage the play. So I can open this motor up and maybe give it a little bit of a servicing and put it back in, see if it's a little bit smoother. This is a counterclockwise motor, and I don't have any replacements for these. So I'll just show you that motor there, and moving my finger pretty hard along there, and definitely this needs to be opened up. It may or may not fix the problem. So yeah, if I just add a little bit of load here now to this, and see if it gets stuck again, that may have fixed the problem. We've gone from pretty much nothing working on this unit to all the functions working. So the last thing to address is the VU metering, and you can see it's just peaking. If you remember on the Happy Tone MC2 video, I had an issue with it peaking as well, and that actually had to do with a resistor that I changed out, and also the transistor. Not completely sure which of those two fixed the situation, but that's how I solved the issue, and was fine after that. So now if you have a look down just along here, you can see those VU meters. You'll be able to see it in the camera. I'm going to actually just play around with this function switch here. You can see those VU meters, they're working how they should be working. I've actually got the volume down on the AM station, but that's the VU meters working correctly. Makes me think that yeah, this function switch, there's still something wrong with it. I'm going to give that slide function switch a little bit more of a clean. Yes, I've cleaned the slide switch up again, still the same thing. Test some of these pins and just make sure that they've got continuity. So that's where I'm going to leave it on this episode. Definitely needs more testing on that slide function switch. I think possibly some more voltage tests on the opposite side of this board there, So hopefully you got something out of this video, helps you in your boombox repairs. Thank everybody for watching, and I'll see you again on the next project.